Hey, so it's Pastor Ryan Hodgins again with my girls, Eden, Ella, and Alyssa to help me out. Today we're going to do some fun sciencey experiments. Today we're going to play with something called dry ice. Now, dry ice is very cold. It can actually be as cold as 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely cold, negative 110 Fahrenheit. So if you touch it, you get burned. So today we've got our goggles on, and we've also got some safety gloves that are warm to keep my hands safe. Now, dry ice can be bought at lots of local grocery stores. I usually get it at Harris Teeter. This time they didn't have any. I found some at Publix. So you can get it anywhere, but it's very cold. And we have some towels and some protective stuff. And it usually comes in a freezer and will actually still melt in the freezer. But this is what a bag of dry ice looks like. And it's usually a block in the bag. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this bag open with my knife. And then we are gonna start to break some pieces up. Okay, now dry ice is extremely cold and it will burn you by freezing you. It freeze burns you. So this is not for children to try at home without parental supervision. But dry ice is one of the coolest things because it's so cold that it actually can freeze stuff. And this is what it looks like. And you can see the smoke coming off of it. Well, dry ice is made up of something called CO2, carbon dioxide. And it's very, very cold. We're going to put this chunk back in the cooler that I have down below my feet here. And dry ice, it actually evaporates. It turns into a gas without turning into a liquid. So it's very, very cold. Now, I brought this hammer because we're going to need little pieces of it. And we're going to show you what the cool thing about this is, some of the cool stuff. So what I'm going to do is I've got some warm water here, and we're going to put some warm water in this container, and then we're just gonna see what happens. Okay, so we're gonna why don't we just put this, let's just go ahead and put this big old piece in there. And the cool thing is it turns into a gas that looks like fog, because the carbon dioxide gases are actually heavier than the air, so they drop down and it looks like you're in the fog. But we don't want to touch it because it gets very, very cold. Now, if I was to just hold this with my gloves for a long time, my hands would still get cold even through the gloves because it's so cold. And if I touch it with my bare hands, it can freeze me. So we have to be very careful. So as you can see, the dry ice here is bubbling and it's going over the edge. And it's just super cool. It's interesting to play with. And I've always had some of the most fun times experimenting with dry ice. Now, what we're gonna do to do something really cool for a bit is we've got this container. This is one of my thermoses, and we're gonna put some dish soap in it. And we're actually gonna move this off of this dry ice gas off of the tray, because we're gonna make a mess and we don't really want to. But something cool is that when you have warm water and the dry ice, and then you have dish soap, and we of course are using Dawn dish soap because, well, it's the best for experiments. What we're gonna do is Alyssa's gonna grab it with her glove and she's gonna put it in there. We're gonna see what happens. Now you'll remember if you fix your eyes on Jesus, your love from him comes bubbling over. And so this, girls, let it bubble over for a minute. The bubbles created from the gas and the water mixing with the soap just creates this endless, I guess you could call it like a snake or a worm of bubbles. And the cool thing is that these bubbles are actually, the gases in them are warm. And you can pop them, you can touch them, they don't hurt you, but they evaporate. Now the amazing thing is that this is just gonna keep going and going and going for a very long time, because Jesus' love will just keep going out of it. And the more we're connected with him, the more his love bubbles over out of us. And so I want to challenge you today to fix your eyes on Jesus. And while we're thinking about these cool experiments, from the elements that God made, the carbon dioxide and the oxygen and all this stuff that God created for us, he allows us to bubble over. He allows us to have fun with this science. And so we're going to let this do its thing and bubble over for a bit, and then we're going to try another experiment. Okay, so we're going to re-top off our bubble fountain here. And then with the gas that's coming out here, we're going to try this bubble, giant bubble again. So I'm going to rub this around the edge. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to roll it over the side in hopes that we can make... Okay, we got to be very still, okay? So that I can try to make this bubble.
Listen.
Be very still, girls. If you breathe on it, it will pop.
It's working.
Well, it was working until our giant bubble mess over here made it worse. Okay, don't
It's
breathe on
working. Oh, it's not working. Oh, wait, it is. It's going, guys. It's doing it.
Okay, so don't breathe on it. We got our giant bubble here, and our giant bubble is going to fill this thing up. Let's watch and see how big it'll get. I'm going to try to keep our bubble tower here away from it.
And when it's done, this is amazing.
Look at how big that is. Let's see. It's
We've
just
seen it.
filled up. Let's just say if we fill our lives up with Jesus, it just fills us to overflowing, and then it's just got to go everywhere. We've got to share Jesus. So fix your eyes on him. That is huge. Look at that. Watch carefully.
That's actually bigger than usual. That's actually.
I've never actually seen it that big.
Yeah.
There we go. Boom.
Oh, awesome.
Super cool. So children, remember to fix your eyes on Jesus, because when he's in our hearts, when he's in our lives, everything just builds up inside, and we've just got to share him. You cannot keep Jesus to yourself. You've got to share him. And I just want to challenge you all to accept Jesus into your hearts and fix your eyes on him, so that he can be the life that wants to pour out on you, and you can share him with the world. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being with us for the sciencey stuff this week. Have a great weekend and worship Jesus with all your heart. Thanks, girls, for helping. Why don't we say bye? Bye, everybody.